Well, welcome back everyone to another class in instruments for change. Now, today we are so happy to have you. We are so happy to have you coming back to us for you to be learning piano and so on. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to use today as and use the opportunity to guide some of us through some of the other classes that we have been doing. Now, one of the things that I have taught in these classes is to follow the cycle of fifths. And right here on the board, we have the cycle of fifths. So we are going to look at the cycle. We're going to understand the cycle a little bit more and know how to use it. So let's do a review. Now, each of our scales have 8 notes. Well, 7 notes plus the first note is repeated. That's where you get 8. And of course, that is why it is called an octave. So if you, from the beginning of the scale to the end of the scale, it's the same note. It's an octave, meaning the 8th note. The 8th note. All right. So let's start with the scale of C. C has, and it's a major scale we're talking. We have several different types of scale. But we're talking about the scale that we learned, the scale that we know, the one that is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So let's listen to it. So starting on C. Let's try that one more time. Now we're playing all the notes, 8 notes from C to C. We're not playing any black notes in it. And we get that sound that we're used to, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, so when we look at the key of C, or the scale, we have no sharps or flats here. And we get that sound. Now, in order for us to get it in G, we have to change something. What is it that we're going to change? Let's try it in G, and let's see. Now, that sounds funny. Let's try it again. Now, what you'll find is that there's a note here that is wrong because you can't play all the white notes starting from G and get the same sound. So let's try it again. Let's see if we can find that note that goes wrong. That note is the one that goes wrong. So I have to change it. Let's try the black note here and see if it makes a difference. Good. So what we do, we change F to F sharp. So that's where we have this notation here that G has 1 sharp. Now, if you are playing with a band, some band members will tell you to play in the key of C or the key of G, but some band members will tell you 1 sharp. And when they say 1 sharp, that simply means you're playing in the key of G. So G has 1 sharp, which is F sharp. All right. Now, D, on the other hand, has 2 sharps. So if you notice, this sharp comes in on the 7th degree, the 7th scale. All right? Now, when you have 2 sharps, let's take a look at D. If we were to play D, I'm just going to play D the way we are supposed to play D, which is the right way. And I'm not going to let you listen to it bad and then we try to correct it. So D. So in D, for it to sound properly, sound like do, re, mi, like we are used to, we have to add We have the F sharp that comes, and we have C sharp. So we have two sharps. So if you notice, F sharp that was here in G comes back in D. Why we teach it in the cycle of fifths is because each time we're adding only one sharp. So we have F sharp, which comes back. So the first G, we added one sharp. In our next key, which is D, we're carrying back the F sharp, and we're adding a new sharp. And the new sharp is coming on the 7th degree. The same thing happens in A. The F sharp comes back. The C sharp comes back. And we're adding a new sharp. And where would we add a new sharp? Obviously, we add it under the 7th degree, which is G. So in the key of A, we have C sharp, F sharp, G sharp. Now, the next key we have 4 sharps because the previous one had 3. So we'll bring back all the 3 sharps we had before, which is, we had C sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and the new sharp we'll add is D sharp. All right, so let's check and see if it is right. In the key of E, we should have 4 sharps starting on E. So it's E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and we'll reverse is the same notes coming down. Okay, so here now we have 5 sharps. So we're taking all these 4 sharps and we're just adding a new one. So we take C sharp, which is coming back, D sharp, which is coming back, F sharp, which is coming back, G sharp, which is coming back, and our new sharp will be on the 7th degree, A sharp. So that's the key of B. And now we're playing 5 sharps, so all the black keys are involved. Okay, good. So, our next one will be F sharp. Why F sharp? If you notice what we were doing from before, this is why we call it the cycle of fifths. Because our new key every time is the 5th of the old key. So in C, the 5th of the old key comes back here as the new key. In G, the 5th of the old key comes back in as D. The 5th of G will form the next scale. The 5th of A will form the next scale, which is E. The 5th of E, which is B, forms the next scale. Now, what's the 5th of B? The 5th of B is F sharp. So we have F sharp, which is the first note in the scale. And we have to have F sharp at the end, because whatever we start the scale with, we'll finish the scale with. Just like E, we'll finish with E, A, we'll finish with A. Now, we're bringing back all these sharps. So F sharp, we already have. G sharp is coming back. A sharp is coming back. C sharp is coming back. D sharp is coming back in F sharp. And what will be our 6th sharp? Our 6th sharp is going to be on the 7th degree of the scale, which is E. So we call E, E sharp. Now, the issue that we're having with E sharp is that E doesn't have a black note to the right of it. And you know, when you make a note a sharp, you have to add the note, the black note, which is to the right of it. So in E, that's E. But now we are on F sharp. So we have F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp. Now the next note must be E, because we have F, G, then A, B, C, D. In the alphabet comes E. Now, E sharp is going to be F. Because to make a note a sharp, you raise it by one semitone. And if you move one semitone to the right of E, you get F. And then we come back to F sharp. The difficulty we'll have if we call this note F, number one is that we won't have a note in the scale called E. And the second difficulty, we cannot have two notes by the name of F. So it must be E sharp and F. So this note, as much as naturally it's F, we have to call it E sharp. Now, because we get ourselves in trouble here, we have to start naming the scales, flats. So here we have our first flat scale, which is D flat. So D flat is going to come back. So the same principle that applied here with the sharps would apply to the flat. We're going to still sharpen or make the 7th degree sharp when we get here. So we'll bring back all the notes. So let's start bringing them back. D flat is the same thing as C sharp. So C sharp came back as D flat. D sharp will come back as E flat. We're still going to bring back E sharp, but E sharp is the same thing as F. So we don't trouble that. Remember now, in our scales, we must have everything in alphabetical order. A to G and then start over after G. So F comes back, so it's the same note we're bringing back, F. Then we have our next note. So we have D flat, E flat, F. Then we are going to bring back our next note, which is G. What is going to be G? F sharp is going to come back as G flat. Then the next note is G sharp will come back as A flat. A sharp is going to come back as B flat. And then the next note that will come back is B. But B, if you have to call B a name, because we already have B here as B flat, the next note must be C. So it would normally be C flat. But what happens is that we have to raise C flat one semitone. So instead of putting a sharp there, it was already flat. So in order to raise it a semitone, we just remove the flat. And it's now C natural. So what is happening is that instead of we adding a flat, we are subtracting a sharp. So let's look at what happens next. The last note is D flat. D flat comes back. All right. So in our cycle, A flat is the next one. So it's A flat, and we bring back all the flats and remove the flat from the 7th, which is in turn sharpening that note. So A flat comes back, B flat comes back, C comes back, D flat comes back, E flat comes back, F comes back as F, and G, what was G flat? Now we're removing the flat and we're leaving it at G, and the next one is A flat. So let's check this. From time to time we have to check to see if we're right. So A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. Sound like it? That sounds like it. Now, our next key, which will be E flat, comes back here. So it's E flat, F comes back as F, G comes back as G, A comes back as A flat. So A flat comes back here, B flat comes back here, C comes back here, and when we remove the flat from D, and D is now natural, and we have to finish how we start with E flat. So E flat has 3 flats. E flat, A flat, B flat. We can't count E flat again because E flat is already here. Now we have B flat. B flat, C, D, E comes back as E flat, F, G, and we remove the flat from A, and so A now is, instead of A flat, we remove the flat, it's A natural, and we end as we started with B flat. And then we have our 1 flat, which is F. So F comes back as F, G, A, and then B flat. And there are no more, because we have satisfied our 1 flat, and in the next one in our cycle of fifth is C. Now C has no sharps, no flats. Now that we have done that review, we are going to learn how to use it. So we went through the cycle in terms of knowing how it's built. So let's see if we can learn some chords from it. And then later on today, we are going to learn how to use it to play. All right. So let's look at it. So C is the first scale. No sharps, no flats. Then we go in the cycle to the fifth. G, 1 sharp. So all we're doing is adding something new, which is the 1 sharp, which is F sharp. Then we have D, which 2 sharps. A, 3 sharps. E, 4 sharps. Then B, 5 sharps. F sharp, which is technically 6 sharps, but we don't have 6 black notes, so we have that F substituting as E sharp. Then D flat, 5 flats. A flat next with 4 flats. E flat, 3 flats. B flat, 2 flats. F, 1 flat. And then we finish where we started on C. Now, why is this important? Remember, now, when we look at each of our scales, we have 8 different degrees. For now, we are going to ignore the last 2, but we are going to look at the chords that comes with these scales. Now, if you should form a chord on the number 1 note or the first degree of the scale 1, it's going to be a major chord. So let's put a big M for major on number 1. Number 1, which is C. So how do we form a chord? On the keyboard, if you look, what we're doing, we're playing C, then we skip D, and we play E. We skip F, and we play G. So what we're in turn doing is just skipping a note and playing 3 notes. So that's C, the C major scale. In earlier lessons, we spoke about why it's major, why it's minor. But for now, we'll just say it's major. Major has a happy sound. Now, on the 4th degree of the scale, it's also major. And on the 5th, it's also major. Now, let's kind of prove it quickly. Now, if you play 1, 3, and 5, you'll find a major chord. C, E, and G. So that's a major chord, C, E, and G. Now, if we should look at the 4th degree of the scale and do the same thing, it will be F, A, and we'll skip B, and we'll have C. F, A, and C. Let's look in the key of F if it's the same thing. F, skip G, A, skip B, C. You notice the same notes. So stands to reason that we have a major chord on 4. And if we do the same thing on 5, G, B, and we're going to skip C, what comes after C? D. So G, B, and D would form this chord that if we should start on the 5th degree of the scale. Let's look at the G. G, B, and D. Same notes. All right? So in every scale that you have these chords. On the 1st degree of the scale, we have a major chord. On the 4th degree of the scale, we have a major chord. And on the 5th degree of the scale, we have a major chord. In the key of C, C, F, and G. All right. So, if it's true for C, it is going to be true for every single scale here. So, if we should go through the cycle of this, which we won't go through all of it, but we'll just play 1, 3, and 5. 1, just playing all the notes in the scale. 1 is C, 4 is F, 5 is G. Let's go to G. Now remember, we're not playing F. We're going to play F sharp. So 1 is G, which we know is a major. 1, 2, 3, 4. C is another major, which we already know is a chord that we are used to. Now look, let's look at D. If we were to play all the notes in D, it's going to be D, F sharp, and A. That's the D major chord. Alright? So, in the key of G, we have G major, C major, and D major. Now, let's take a quick look. Let's choose another one at random. Let's say A flat. A flat, if we just should skip notes, it would be A flat, C, and E flat. So that's A flat major chord. Okay? So the 4th in A flat is D flat. D flat, F, and A flat. That's a D flat major chord. And our 5th in A flat is E flat, which is E flat, G, and we have to skip A flat and go to the next note. What's the next note that comes after A flat? B flat. So it's E flat, G, and B flat. So it stands true for all of them. So if you're playing a simple song and you're just using the major chords, if you're happy and you know it, say amen. Say amen. That is the 5th. So we're going from 1 to 5. Happy and you know it, say amen. Then if you're happy and you know it, say amen. So that is 1 to 5, 5 back to 1. You know, if you want to sing it higher, then you're going to play, let's go into E flat. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Now what's the 5 in E flat? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B flat. So without guessing or wondering what the chord is, you know it's 1 to 5. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Okay, it's right. If you're happy and you know it, say amen. Very good. And it holds true for everything else that you do. Once you can work out the numerical progression, then it's going to follow through for every single thing that you do. All right. What's next? Now, we have D, we have E, and we have A. We have 2, we have 3, and we have 6. Now, these are minor chords. So, in the key of C, all these will be white notes. So, D, just skip a note just the same way, and they appear in the key naturally. that's 2, and on 3, that's E, that's a E minor, and on 6, which is A, C, and E, that's A minor also. Now, let's take a quick look at something. In the key of G, D is a major chord, as we see here. So we have D, F sharp, and we skip G and go to A. D, F sharp, and A. Let's look at D in the key of C. It's a minor chord. Very good. Now, when you look at it, it's D, F, and A. So the difference is that note in the middle. D, F, and A will give you the D minor, while D, F sharp, and A will give you the D major chord. Now, if we should take a look at that, all we have to do to change a major to a minor is to change what happens in that middle note in the chord. So let's go through this quickly. We know that on the number 1 scale is a major. So one of the ways you can learn how to play major chords or minor chords is that you can learn just from the number ones, all the number ones. C, E, and G for the C major. G major, G, B, and D. D major, D, F sharp, and A. A major, A, C sharp, and E. E major, E, G sharp, and B. B major, B, D sharp, and F sharp. F sharp major, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. D flat major, D flat, F, A flat. A flat major, A flat, C, and E flat. E flat major, E flat, G, B flat. B flat major, B flat, D, and F. F major, F, A, and C. And of course, we'll come back to our C major, C, E, and G. Now, from the demonstration we had before, D, F, and A would be D minor, where D, F sharp, and A would be the D major. So from that, all we have to do is to change that middle note and lower it a semitone. So if we have learned from the first degree of the scale what the major is, all we have to do is to change that middle note, lower it one semitone, and it will become minor. So let's look. C, E flat, and G would give you the C minor. Now, if we look in this number 2 here, number 2, if we find C, we have C, skip D, E flat, and G. So it tells us exactly what the majors are. So if we want G minor, it will be G, B flat, and D. D minor, D, not F sharp, but lower the F sharp to F and A. A, C, lower the C sharp to C and E. E, G, lower the G sharp to G and A. B would be B, lower the D sharp to D and F sharp. F sharp, A, and C, not A sharp. In D flat now, we have D flat, F flat, which is the same note as E, and A flat. A, it will be A, C flat, which is the same thing as B, and E. E flat will be E flat, G flat, B flat. B flat for minor, B flat minor will be B flat minor, B flat, D flat, and F. For F minor, it will be F, A flat, and C. Now right there, straight up, every single one, you now know what the majors and the minors are. So we have C, C minor, G, G minor, D, D minor, A minor, E minor, B, B minor, F sharp, F sharp minor, D flat minor, A flat minor, B flat minor, F minor, and then we come back to C. So this is our quick lesson on how to use the cycle of fifths. So when we come back, we are going to be doing some reading. So stay with us. We will be right back.
The point of wearing a mask is to prevent the spread of air droplets from persons who may or may not be infected. When wearing a mask, please ensure that the mask goes above the nose and below the chin. This might be a bit uncomfortable, but it's for your own safety. The position of the mask is very important. It should not be worn on your forehead, under your chin, or on your neck. Please do not remove the mask when speaking. This actually causes more droplets to be released into the atmosphere. Trust me, if you have on a mask, we will still hear you. When you're removing a mask, try not to touch the front of the mask. If you do, remember to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer. Please throw away the mask appropriately. Remember, partial protection is better than no protection.
Welcome back. Now we have been learning our chords. So we are going to be looking at one principle today, which we are going to pick up in our reading. Now, one of the questions that I keep getting from time to time is, how do I know the chords just by looking at the music score? All right. Well, one of the simple ways is that we notice what the chords are when we see them spelled out. Some of us will look at the melody line, follow the melody line, and follow the bass note and form chords around them. All right. But then there's one thing, after all of that is done, there's one thing that will not fit directly into any one of those patterns. And that one thing is that you'll see some accidentals. Now, the accidental that I'm concerned about with today is a sharp accidental. What is that sharp accidental? And when you have that sharp accidental, you can almost 100% of the time tell what the next chord will be. As a matter of fact, if you see the sharp accidental, you can tell what that chord is going to be. Let's go through the principle first. Now, the sharp accidental happens in two ways. Now, in a sharp accidental, you will either see a sharp if it's any one of these keys, C to F sharp. Or what you'll see is a natural, which looks like this, almost like a sharp, when it's from D to F, normally. Let me tell you why. Now, if it's a natural note, it's a white note which occurs in most of these keys, what you'll notice is that if they want to change, for instance, in the key of D, they want to change G, they want to sharpen G, all they'll do is add a sharp to G. If we're in the key of, say, A flat, and they want to sharpen D flat, what they'll do is that they'll drop the flat and they'll make it D natural. That's where you'll get this symbol. So we are going to look at a few of them. So let's start with my Maker and my King. So we're going to put it on the screen. So let's get my Maker and my King on the screen. So with my Maker and my King, we will see, let's see where that accidental comes in. Now, when we look at the second line, thy sovereign bounty is the spring whence all my blessings flow. That blessings on the ings, if you look on the bass clef, you see a F sharp. No. Whenever, and this is true almost 100% of the time, whenever you see that sharp accidental is the middle note of a major chord. So, F sharp, what chord would F sharp be? F sharp will be the middle note of the D major chord. So, no. So whenever you see that sharp accidental, you can assume almost 100% of the time that it's going to be that middle note. When you're thinking about the 3-note chord or the triad, it's going to be that middle note of the major chord. So the F sharp will be the D chord. Now let's say if it was G sharp, it's going to be the E chord automatically. So let's try that in my Maker and my King. So let's look at the music one more time, and we're going to look. So everything is we start with a C chord. So we notice the C chord is there, the left hand is C. All that is C. Then we have the G chord, and then we change back to C, and we see the C in the bass, and then we're going to play the next line, which is a C chord again. Then all my blessings, we notice now that's a D in the left hand. So we have a G chord in the right hand, Then we see on the ing of the blessing, that is where the D chord comes in. Alright, so almost 100% of the time, you see that when the accidental is there. Now, let me quickly haste to say that it also tells us what the next chord will be. So in this case, we have the next chord is normally a semitone higher than the accidental. And that accidental being F sharp, the next chord, not all the time, but most of the time, is going to be G. So when we get, that's the D chord, then G. Then of course we can play the rest of the song. Alright, great. So let's turn to another song. A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. Now this one is filled with accidentals. So let's get that on the screen. A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. And we are going to look at some of the accidentals. Remember now, that whenever the accidental comes up, it's going to be that middle chord in the major chord. There we have A Mighty Fortress Is Our God. All right. So if you could pull it up a little bit so we can see the bottom notes. We can leave the title off it. Pull it up a little bit. Come back down a little bit. Down, 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 down. Stop. Okay, no, it won't work. It won't work. Come all the way down. So it's just to the first part of the song. Come down. Right. Okay. So we have, right. Thank you so much. Or if you could minimize it a little bit. All right. Now, very good. Nice. Some more. That's good. That's almost perfect. We need some more, but that's fine. Oh, so now with A Mighty Fortress Is Our God, let's try some of the accidentals that we see here. So one of the things that will be true is that if we follow the bass note and just form chords out of the bass note, we will get some good chords from it, right? But we have to follow the lead note, and where the lead note goes, and we form a chord that suits both the lead note, which is a melody note, and the bass note. So no, that's our first accidental. That accidental is the F sharp accidental, the same one we had in our song My Maker, Our King. And if you notice, that is the D chord, right? And then coming after the D is the G chord. Let's continue. So the same thing happens in the next line. That's our accidental again, F sharp, which is the D chord. Very good. Let's go back to the music now. Yes. Then now same D chord. That's now another accidental, which is the G sharp accidental. So in the G sharp accidental, the E chord is there. And remember, the chord that follows that is a semitone higher. That's the A chord. Back to that G sharp accidental is there, so it's the E chord. Let's go to the next line. Scroll up a little bit. Thank you so much. Back to C. That's the F sharp accidental. You see it there. And of course the G chord is coming after that. Now this is a C sharp. So that's that C sharp, that is in the middle of the A chord, in the A triad. and that's the D chord that follows it immediately. Then we have a A sharp accidental, which is the E chord. And the A, because remember now, one semitone above the accidental, G sharp, one semitone above it is A. Very good. So remember now, when you're reading, look for these accidentals. Just scan the page, keep your eyes on the page. You'll get clues for what the chords are. Now remember, learn to play the melody, learn what the bass notes are, and then form a chord out of it. For instance, if the melody is C, in the key of C, and the bass note is G, then you can play the C chord over a G bass. All right? And once you see that accidental, you know that whatever that accidental is. So let's see if we can get to another one. Let's go into crown him with many crowns. Let's try that one. Now, crown him with many crowns is in the key of D. So if we can put crown him with many crowns up, beautiful. So it starts with the D chord. D in the left hand, so we can assume that's his D. B minor, then G in the left hand and the bass. Let's try G chord, and then we just move around with the left hand. Next line. Then we have a E sharp, a G sharp accidental. That is the E chord. So remember now, the E chord is the G sharp is in the middle of the E chord, right? And it comes back again right there. No. So the first time we play that E chord, it didn't immediately go to the A. It eventually went to the A, because remember I tell you that the chord that follows it normally with these accidentals is a semitone higher than the accidental itself. The accidental is in the middle of a major chord, and a semitone higher than the accidental is where that chord is leading to. So let's try that second line. Hark how the heavenly anthem sounds. Then the E chord now. That's the A chord, but it didn't go immediately to it. The E chord again now. Directly to the A chord. Now, what's this? We say a D sharp. That's the B chord. Then it goes to E. And you see the accidental there again, which is the E chord to the A. No more accidentals. So remember that one plays out straight. It looks just like how we explained it. Now let's look at some notes, some keys with flats in there, so we can demonstrate how we do sharps in our flat keys. So remember, when we're sharp, we're changing a flat to a sharp, we use a natural. So let's look at He lives. He lives, it's in A flat. Let's put up the music. Alright, so we're in A flat. So we have A flat, B flat, D flat as the flats. We have C, F, and G as our or white notes or natural notes, right? So let's try this now. So we're looking out now for the natural notes. Now, we're not looking for the flat accidental. The flat accidental indicates something totally different when we're reading. So if we look at the melody that we're playing, the melody is C and the bass is A flat. So when the melody is F at one point, so it starts off with E flat. That's F. So when the F is played there, we can play the D flat chord, back to the A flat chord, back to the D flat, but the left hand is just A flat. Now, then we have no accidentals here. No, we have an accidental. No, that accidental is the D natural accidental. What note would be, what chord would D natural be in the middle of the chord? That chord will be the B flat chord. No, there's something interesting happening here. The melody is on A flat. Now, if you play the B flat chord, is B, D, and F. The A flat is not in there, so let's add the A flat. No, that's a B flat 7th chord. Another time we'll tell you why it's 7th. But for now, all you have to do is to play the B flat chord and add the A flat to it. Gives a nice sound. So let's do it from. And of course, what will come after it? Remember, the D is the accidental. The chord that comes after it is a semitone above, which is E flat. All right, so let's go to the rest of the song. And now this accidental again. That D accidental, which is the same as B flat. Same chord. The same D again. So we know that it's B flat. By this time, you should know that whenever you see a D natural, it's a B flat chord, and E flat must follow it. Now, right there, you will see the E natural. What note, what chord is E natural in the middle of? It's C. Then what will follow naturally after C is a semitone above E, F. But what we find is the A natural. So that is in the middle of the F chord. And that follows with the B flat. And still we see the B natural. So that's the B flat. Leads to E flat. So let's go through that little part again. All right, so right here we have the E natural as an accidental. That's in the key of C. But how the song is played, right after that comes another accidental, which is the A. And in A, it's in the middle of the F major chord. So it's the F chord, then it's followed by another accidental, which is D, which is in the middle of the B flat chord. And then it's all regular notes from there. So what we should learn here? When we have the when we see these chords, these notes, these accidentals, after a while playing them over and over and over again, we are going to realize or remember, just memorize. Muscle memory will take us there to tell us that when there's a E sharp, when there's a G sharp, it's always E. When there's a F sharp, it's always D. When there's a E natural, it's always a C chord. When there's a natural, it's always the F chord. When there is a D natural, it's always the B flat chord. The one way for us to do this is to play it over and over again. So let's look at another song. See if we can get it. Let's go to one of my favorites. Well, all of these songs, I love them. Let's try When We All Get to Heaven. So all these chords are okay, forming. They're all diatonic, but there are 1 and 2 points that we see some accidental. So let's play it through. So let's look at the score now. And remember the flat accidental is a different kettle of fish. So we play when we get to the second line is when we see some accidental there. So we play the first one, all B flat chords, and then we play an F chord, then we go back to B flat and F. That's the first line. So it's that's all around the B flat. Then we have the B flat chord. Then we have the F chord. Back to B flat. This is when it gets a little different now. Oh, that's a sweet chord. No. Right there we have 2 accidentals. We have the C sharp accidental, and we have the E accidental. Now, which one should we use to form the chord? We're going to use both of them. It's going to be this chord. We call it it's the E diminished. But let's concentrate on what the left hand gives you, which is the E natural. So if we were just to see, if we saw just that chord, then we'll play the C chord. So this is what it would sound like. And that would sound fine. However, let's say we only saw the C sharp accidental. That means we'll be playing an A chord. Let's see if that can work. An A chord right there. Right, that's what it was on like. You're right, but then it's kind of sound weird because of what we're doing with the left hand. But if we look, we see an E natural. So let's try that, the E natural with the A chord, and see how it works out. That sounds a little better. So we can play around with any one of those chords. Remember now, if it don't sound right, it's not right. So find something else to do. So let's go to that section again. Alright, so there's another accidental that comes in there. Now, that's a E natural. It's just that rejoicing, the joy in the rejoicing. You say a E natural. So E natural will tell us if we're playing strong enough, long enough, we are to play the C chord. Right? So it's so that's C chord, E natural. And we use that chord just before, which is where that E natural and that C sharp comes together. That chord again. Very, very good. So we're going to take a break right now and we're going to come right back. Please join us where we'll wrap up this class.
Aren't you tired of being the last person to view our content whenever we post? Maybe 3 days or perhaps a week later? Trust me, I know the feeling. That's why I'm here to help you fix that problem. By subscribing to our YouTube channel, it enables a notification feature that sends you a personal notification whenever EJC Virtual Church goes live. Yeah, that's cool, I know. Ready? Let's go. Now, firstly, what you want to ensure is that you are signed into your YouTube via your Gmail account. And then when you've gotten onto one of our videos, below that video you should see the word subscribe in red. You tap that word and then a bell should come up beside it. You hit that bell and select all to get all our notifications for all our content that we post right here on our EJC Virtual Church YouTube channel. Yep, it's as easy as pie. So right now, you'll receive notifications whenever it's time for a new beginning. Mind your health. Youth Mission Live, Oh Give Thanks, Instruments for Change, and on Sabbaths or regular worship service. Remember, if you don't do it, the rocks will. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family members. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will surely receive a blessing from these programs.
All right, welcome back. All right, so we're going to wrap up. We just spoke about our chords. We spoke about how to use those sharp accidentals, and it's one of the things when you master it, when you're looking at the sheet music, when you're looking at the hymnal music, almost all the time there are two main rules that I see coming out in our exercise when we look at the accidentals. One rule going with the sharp accidental, the other one going with the flat accidental. Let us take a look. Where I'm going to move when we all get to heaven to in the key of C, just to demonstrate some of the things that we want you to know. If you want to move from, say, C to A, and you want a nice chord to move, just using the same sharp accidental. If you want to do that, there's an easy way to think it through for you to get it, to play a nice little chord in between. So let's start with the chorus. So we use that D chord with the F sharp accidental to get to G. Look here now. You can see that you can see all the accidental. So this is where we use those two accidentals. Accidentals again. Alright, so let's say we were playing As the Deer. Now, we have the C chord. We go to the G chord, A minor chord, F to the G. Now, so we are going from C and walking down to the A minor. So one of the nice chords we can use in between there is the E chord. Now the E chord has that G sharp accidental that we spoke about. Now, when we use the accidental, we know that the natural note or the natural chord to follow that is a semitone higher than the accidental, which we're moving from the G sharp to A minor. So let's go. So that's the G chord, but we want to get to A minor, so we use the E major. So that's a nice way for you to use that the accidental that we just learned about. So let's try it again without the break. So you hear that change. I mean, if you play it ordinarily, it would sound alright. But to use a chord in between, you want a nice passing chord. You think of the chord coming before using that accidental, which you know the accidental will be a semitone below the chord that you're going to. So that's just a nice way of using that accidental. So I hope that today that you came out, you learned a little bit about these accidentals, you learned a little bit more about how to use the cycle of fifths and how to apply them to the classes that we have done before and some classes that you have coming up. And some of the classes that Oren would have taught, where all Dale would have taught, all these will come into place. Watch all these classes, spend time learning all the different techniques, and learn from all the teachers the different things that we have to say. And you will eventually master your craft as a keyboardist, as a pianist. You spend time practicing. And remember that my philosophy is always don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you cannot get it wrong. All right? And remember now that we're not just practicing piano, we are practicing other things. We are practicing how to live godly, walk with Jesus, and how is it that we are going to one day walk with him forever. So learn well, practice well, and remember that God loves you. So I'm going to leave you with that one song when we all get to heaven, because when I get there, boy, I don't know if they're going to give me a piano to play, if all the pianos will be crowded out because there are so many great musicians there. I just want to be there. And when I get there, I just want to see Jesus. So I'll leave you with this one. When we all get to heaven, which we just learned.
Join us tomorrow evening for Oh Give Thanks with Pastor Michael Lewis and the dynamic team. We look forward to seeing you at 7:30 p.m. sharp. A blessing awaits you.